Hey, this is Scott, and today I'm going to talk about what I'm looking at right now. No, it's not the camera, it's the Prompter People ProLine Plus teleprompter. So a teleprompter might not be your average run-of-the-mill type thing that YouTubers might think about getting, but I can say it's been extremely helpful for me personally. I'm absolutely terrible at remembering details accurately. Just ask my high school history teacher, but doing videos like this means that I'm talking about things like prices, battery life, weight, focal lengths, and the list goes on and on. Of course, this doesn't help you to talk smoothly, but remembering those things and being able to bring them up as talking points in my videos is nearly impossible, and it always needs way more takes, times, and wasted memory for extra video than I'd like to use. Until now, my only way around that would be to either read off a computer that's next to me or voice over with a ton of B-roll. Either way, I'd always end up looking off the camera at the wrong time or struggling to get enough B-roll that will fit what I was talking about through the entire video. But now, I can do this. The Prompter People ProLine Plus is one of 9 styles currently in their lineup, and while it's not quite the top of the line in what they offer, it's up there towards the top. The Flex Plus model shares a lot of the same features, but it's about $400 cheaper. The ProLine Plus starts at around $1,200, and you can upgrade the 12-inch beam splitter glass, which I have here, to a maximum of 24 inches. I have the iPad cradle, which we'll go into later, but for $400 more, you could get the regular monitor or their high bright monitor for an extra $600. There's also 3 different kinds of freestand kits, as well as a 15mm rail mount kit, and altogether there are tons of combinations that you could put together. You could use the prompter without either of these kits, but since they're a reasonable price, I do recommend that you check out their details on Prompter People's website if you're interested, and decide what works best for you. As I said, this is definitely not the cheapest option, and they do have some versions as cheap as $400 to get you started, all with amazing quality and a very functional and easy to use design backed by an incredibly reliable company. So, was that enough specs to show you how helpful the prompter can be in this kind of situation? What I have here is the 12-inch version with the iPad cradle, the freestand kit, and the 15mm rail mount kit. So let's get into it, and I'll show you the different parts and how they work and what I think of the overall system. If you don't already know, the way this works is by using what's called beam splitter glass to reflect the text from a screen below it back to you, while not showing up in the video itself. The glass is directly in front of the lens, so you can look right into the camera while you're reading your script or your notes, letting you focus more on your camera presence and overall attitude without forgetting what you need to say. Beam splitter glass can come in a few different varieties, but the standard on these prompters from Prompter People is called 60/40 glass. The first number, 60 in this case, represents the light that passes through the glass to the camera. The second number, 40, represents the amount of light that's reflected up from the monitor below. 70/30 glass is also available, but 60/40 will reflect the text more brightly. Either way, the text won't show up in your video, and 60/40, for example, will only cut less than 1/3 stop of light compared to the bare lens. Thanks to their ultra clear low iron glass, there's also no significant color shift. As I mentioned, I have the iPad cradle, which lets you use your iPad as the monitor, ideally with the iQ app. I'm using this with an iPad mini, but you can use larger iPads or a range of monitors up to 24 inches. It comes with a wireless keyboard that you can use to control the flow of text on your screen, but the iPhone app, which can act as a remote for your iPad, has worked perfectly for me, so I've been using that. It allows you to start, stop, rewind, fast forward, adjust speed, and pretty much everything you'll need to do. From the iPad app, you can import a text, IQ, RTF, document, or HTML file and adjust the text size, line spacing, text mirroring, color, font, speeds, and tons more very easily. Ideally, you want to adjust this so that you're reading only the center line of text as it passes by, so that it appears like you're looking right into the lens the whole time. Of course, that means you'll also want to adjust both your beam splitter height and the iPad position on the slider, so that way the center line of text shows up lined up with the lens. It might take a little practice to read your script like this or adjust the speed, but the ProLine Plus makes the actual setup very easy. There are 2 screws on either side of the prompter, as well as a lock. The lock makes sure that it doesn't crash down when you loosen the screw, and the top screw will allow you to adjust the angle and close down for storage. The bottom screw will then loosen the entire beam splitter part just to adjust the height. It's a little tight, but it's better than being loose and accidentally slipping out of place. There are 4 screws on the bottom of the iPad cradle. 2 of them let you open up the tabs holding the iPad in place, and the other 2 let you slide it in and out to be positioned where you need it. All of these screws are really easy to grab, loosen, and tighten. There's a cloth hood to place over your lens with a drawstring to pull it tight and block out the surrounding light. You want to make sure this hood is pulled open wide so it's not falling in front of your lens, of course. At first, the drawstring on here was weirdly tight, but since then it's become much easier to use. There are a number of ways you can mount the prompter itself, as well as your camera, which is part of the awesome flexibility and modularity of this system that lets it be used with nearly any sized camera. With the freestand kit, you can place the entire prompter onto a light stand, independent of the camera. I take my camera on and off the tripod to shoot B-roll quite often, so for me it can be faster if I have them set up separately. Plus, if I use a C-stand with wheels for the prompter, I can move it away from and back to the camera very easily. If you do want to mount the entire setup on a tripod, which is actually a really nice way to set it up, you can also do that in two different ways. One way is to attach a tripod plate to the bottom of the teleprompter itself. The spot to attach the plate can be adjusted back and forth to help you with balance if you need it. You can then easily attach the camera rail to the back of the prompter and place your camera on there with a few different heights possible depending on the size of your camera. Combining one of these setups with the sliding glass moving up and down will let you easily get the right height for whatever size camera you use. You can attach your camera directly on the sled, which also has an extra video pin built in, and it has a nice big wheel to easily grab and tighten or loosen the screw without the need for any additional tools. You could also attach the additional height adjustment bracket here if needed, and that same large wheel that locks the whole thing in place on the rail also allows you to slide the camera backwards and forwards. It's very easy to use and it takes no time to set up once you get the hang of it. The second way to use this with a tripod is by using the 15mm rail mount kit to attach the beam splitter part right onto some rods right out in front of your camera that's already mounted on a tripod. So depending on which kit or size you get, there may or may not be a case included, but with this setup I got a fairly nice soft case. There's foam at the bottom and the material, zippers, and straps all feel very high quality. There's one large pocket on the front for accessories, but I really wish there was a little more separation for storage in the main compartment as well, or more pockets on the outside. Since there's glass in there, I definitely don't want to store anything that could break or scratch it in that main compartment, and the pocket on the front isn't really large enough to fit all of the accessories. However, you can change this to a hard flight case if you think you'll be needing to transport it more often. So even if this particular unit is not in your price range, or if it's too big or too small or something else, I'd highly recommend taking a look at Prompter People's website because they have quite a variety, and this has really helped me to cut down the time I need to record talking head type videos like this and the frustration that goes along with that. Maybe you're more of a smooth talker than I am, but I need it. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you liked this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it if you'd like, subscribe to see more in the future, and as always, thank you for watching.